Well, interestingly enough, Pumping On was a documentary about explaining bodybuilding. It was not about me, because you never know who is going to win. Doing Stay Hungry, the film that I did before Pumping On, I had to reduce my body weight down to 210. So the question was really, can I come back again with 240 pounds and then win the Mr. Olympia again? So that was questionable. So therefore, no one really focused on me per se, but they focused more on bodybuilding itself. I just happened to emerge as the personality in the bodybuilding field. And so that's why the cameras were then more on me. I happened to win the competition against some tough competitions, against Lou Ferrigno, for instance, and Sergio Dubre and Franco Colombo, and guys like that were really tough competitors. I think it was also, it lent itself for me being myself. So I think that people didn't only just see me in Stay Hungry as an actor, but they saw all of a sudden what I'm really like. So I got, Conan the Barbarian because of Pumping On. It was like the movie where I showed my personality, and Ed Pressman saw that movie, Pumping On, and they said, finally we found a guy that has the personality and has the acting ability and has the body that is able to play Conan the Barbarian.
Franco is pretty smart, but Franco is a child. And when it comes to the day of the contest, I'm his father. He comes to me for advices. So it's not that hard for me to give him the wrong advices.
The saying, milk is for babies, and I drink beer. That is because of my Munich days. So when I moved from Austria to Munich to train between the age of 19 and 21, other gyms always would have milk bottles all over the windows that were empty or half full or full, that bodybuilders would be drinking. In our gym, we had downstairs a restaurant, and we always got huge steins of beer. So we had just beer all around the windows and around the gymnasium. And I refused to drink milk because I hated milk. And so beer was really for me to drink, to have while I was working out.
Well, you drink skim milk, don't you?
No, I drink no milk.
You don't drink any milk at all?
No milk, no. Milk is for babies. When you grow up, you have to drink beer.
Pumping On is being shown just about in all the gyms around the world, 24 hours a day. So it doesn't matter which generation you talk about. The new generation that is walking in now into the gym still see Pumping On, and they still see me winning. And so when they come to Gold's Gym here now in Venice, they know everything about me. I think that this movie has its life, has its own life, and it will go on forever, I think. And I think that it is really one of those great documentaries that really has established bodybuilding in a big way, because bodybuilding was kind of like a hidden kind of a sport. It was, no one really understood it, no one really could explain what it is about. And I think that Pumping On did all of that, it explained that. Conan the Barbarian. My goal was to be a leading man. And I was told many times by managers and agents and studio executives that this would never happen. That someone with an accent like me has never become a real leading man and a big star in America. That Americans like to hear people who sound like John Wayne or like Clint Eastwood, but not like me. That I may be good for Hogan's Heroes if they ever make a remake or something like that, but definitely not for any other movie. And also that my body is way too big, that I'm too large. And so here all of a sudden is Conan the Barbarian, where my accent was welcomed because I talked different than everyone else, and it looked like from some prehistoric time, and the body looked like an action hero, something that like Frank Frazetta, when he drew the Conan characters in the comic books, he always drew him with the huge muscles and very defined and ripped. But in those days, there was no actor around that ever could play that role. So here was me. So all of a sudden, there's two things that they always were complaining about and said that will never make you a star because you have too big of a body. Guys like Dustin Hoffman and Al Pacino and Woody Allen, those are the in guys. in the 70s, not a big body like that, and the accent doesn't work. All of this became an asset rather than a liability. So I proved to the world again, never listen to the naysayers and always just plow ahead and do exactly what is your vision. My vision was to become a big star and to become not only a big star, but to become the highest paid entertainer in that field, which I eventually then became when I did Batman and Robin.
Almost 20 years of pitiless combat. No rest, no sleep like other men. And yet the spring wind blows, super die.
This was really the only movie where I had more responsibility of doing my own stunts than any other movie, because there was no one around, no stunt guy that had the same body. So Terry Leonard did some of the wide shots when from far away, when you see Conan riding on a horse or something like that, he would do that because, with the war paint and with the camouflage paint on it and all that stuff, we got away with it. But in close-ups, there was no way because he had an ordinary kind of athletic body, but not a bodybuilder's body like I had or like the Conan body. So I had to end up doing a lot of the falls, a lot of the sword fights, a lot of the things on horses, the big battles on horses, all of this crashing together with horses, falling off the horse, all of this stuff I had to do myself. And luckily, I was young enough to sustain the punishment because there were a lot of injuries at that time. I remember the first day I shot, I had to get stitched up. I had 12 stitches on my back because some wolf pulled me down from the rocks and I fell with my back on rocks. It was all the way from the beginning to the end really wild and a great experience. And John Milius, the director, loved it. He says, this is exactly what it's all about. This is a tough movie to shoot, and this is a Conan era, and this is exactly the way we wanted it. So he really got off on all those kind of things.